Oh, that is just so snazzy, Stu. I just don't know what to think about it. We are very high tech here at the Energy Realities podcast today. Welcome, everyone, and welcome to my co-panelists, Tammy Nemeth, Irina, Slav, and Mr. Stu Turley, who is podcasting today from some undisclosed location, I believe, near Dallas.
No.
Nope, Oklahoma.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I am up in the middle of nowhere.
All right. Well, we are today talking about, we talk about this every week, but we're just going to make it the full topic of discussion today, transition insanity, which is the most target-rich environment on the face of the earth today. We have a lot of great stories from last week to go through with you today, and I don't know what else there is to say except let's get going through the topics here, Stu. All right. Whose are these? These are Tammy's, right?
Yeah. So these are mine, and I was hoping we'd save these ones to the end, but we can talk about
let's save them to the end. We can
maybe save them to the end. That would be great.
Oh,
this one was fabulous.
Is this you, Stu?
No, this was you.
Oh, this is me. Okay, good. I didn't even know I'd submitted this one, but of course I did. This is the craziest story of the whole week. Last week, of course, we on Monday had, that was just last week, right? We had the big solar eclipse, came right over my house, took pictures of it, posted them on Facebook. So much fun for, 3 minutes and 10 seconds of daytime darkness.
Wow.
But it was beautiful. It was a really awesome thing. And of course, the ladies who host The View are not nearly as intelligent as our co-panelists, Irina and Tammy. And mainly Sunny Hostin, oh my gosh, decided that this solar eclipse, which, was set in motion really when the solar system formed, was that 6 billion years ago. It's been kind of an inevitability ever since that happened, was actually caused by global warming and climate change. And not just the eclipse, but she also said the recent earthquake in New Jersey and New York was also caused by climate change. And that is such a brain dead statement that even Whoopi Goldberg jumped in and corrected her. So I guess
let me throw this in here, and we got a breaking news here. Hang on.
Would maybe lead one to believe that, either climate change exists, or something is returning.
Earthquakes are not at the mercy of climate change. It's underground. It can't.
It happens, and the eclipse. They've known about the eclipse coming because eclipses happen, and they actually can say when these things are going to happen.
Those things.
Go figure. They can actually say when these things are going to happen. Who knew that? Did anybody here know that?
But the funny thing is, I had a longer clip on this, David, and they were talking about Sonny was trying to go back into it and saying that the eclipse caused the earthquake before it even happened. I was like, what? Sorry.
Well, I think climate change causes everything.
That's right.
Yes.
Everything bad.
Yeah. As long as it's bad, it's all climate change.
Yeah.
Right. Because
you have a nice summer.
And that's become the funding mechanism for every study conducted at every university in the free world, is if you can link whatever you're studying to climate change, you are guaranteed to get a government grant. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the funding mechanism for all research universities in the United States and across Europe, Australia, Canada, everywhere in the Western world. So literally, climate change is going to be linked to everything going forward because there are billions of dollars at stake in relating everything to climate change.
And not only governments and everything else, but funding for universities. Netflix has stepped in, and I've been visiting with some folks on Netflix movies. And if it does not have, in fact, Doug Sandridge had talked to some folks, and if you come up with a documentary, it won't be published on Netflix unless it says wind and solar are great.
Oh,
Sounds
wow.
right to me.
All right.
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
not surprised.
David, I think you also had pilot solar community in Alberta fears potential shift to gas heating.
I don't think that was me.
Okay.
But I can comment on that one.
Okay.
I think it got shared around, but so
Okay.
this solar community was set up about 12 to 17 years ago. I can't remember precisely when. It was in the early 2000s. And it's not even solar power, it's solar heating. So they have this unique way of taking the heat from the sun with these solar panels, diverting it into some sort of underground reservoir to store heat with water or something like that. And then it uses district heating. But they also have backup natural gas heaters just in case, because it's Alberta and it gets cold in winter. But the solar panels are already failing.
Right.
And the guy who had built the community or had was the idea behind it said, I was expecting 30 to 40 years for these panels and they're wearing out within 17. This isn't right. And the manufacturer doesn't make those panels anymore, so they can't even get parts or anything. And so now some of the houses have gotten off the whole district heating thing and have installed full natural gas heaters and so on. And so it's just the typical thing where they have this alternative form of heating or energy or whatever, but it always needs the backup anyway. So why invest in that in the first place when you could just have the base to begin with?
Yeah,
The
you're
backup
paying
is
for
the reality.
two separate systems, and you wonder why your utility bills are high.
Right.
There's
And I
very-
think
Yeah.
Go ahead, Irina.
What I found most interesting in this story was that they couldn't find people to fix the equipment because it was decades old technology. Since when is 17 years decades old technology?
Exactly. Exactly. But it also speaks to how quickly the solar panels wear out or the wind turbines wear out, which is why Siemens Gamesa was in so much trouble because they were wearing out so much quicker than the original sort of estimates were in, I guess, in, when they're testing these things and so on. But that's a big issue. So if you want to swap your whole grid over to these things, but they wear out, in a third the time than you're expecting, that's a huge expense, not to mention what it means to the reliability of the grid.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not universal, by the way. Some solar panels do last more than 20 years, but you can't know because it depends on things, including the weather. I mean, if you have dry winds, if you have dust, they will probably
Hailstorms.
damage the panels more quickly. You can't know, and you can't overestimate their longevity and plan based on that because you can't know, as the Alberta case proves, how long exactly they would last under the specific circumstances of where they are located.
Yeah, I mean, we just had a big hailstorm in Texas near
Yeah,
Houston
you
that
did.
knocked out 330-acre solar farm that had just been completed, just went into service last year. It's gone because you had a hailstorm. Guess
Yeah.
what? Hail breaks glass. Who could have possibly known that in advance, right? So they're going to have to rebuild the whole thing now. It probably costs more to rebuild it than it did to install it in the first place.
David, what are they going to do with all them busted up?
They're going to
solar
take them
panels?
to the local landfill.
What?
Yeah, there's no
Really?
regulations in Texas governing the retirement of those things or any other state in the United States, by the way, because the wind and solar people have a very strong lobby in Austin and other state capitals. And they have prevented the adoption of any strong regulations governing the retirement and disposal of their equipment.
Why? Why
Wow.
would they do that? And they
Because they don't want to go to the expense of having to properly retire it all when it gets to the end of its useful life. It will cost more to properly retire a wind farm than it did to build it in the first place. And so
Yeah.
they're definitely, I mean, if you have to properly retire and dispose, not just of the turbines and the towers, but the enormous concrete bases that they stand on.
Yeah.
It would cost you far more to do that than it did to build the thing in the first place. And that destroys the economics of doing any of those projects. So they have lobbied fiercely in these state capitals to prevent any regulations from coming about.
to
And
keep the costs down.
Tammy, there was a wonderful article out of the UK. The wind farms are useless, says the Duke of Edinburgh. Holy smokes, Batman! That was so cool. The author of this article walked up to him and said, "Hi, how are you?" And the Duke unloaded on him. The quote, he said, when he said they are absolutely useless, completely relying on subsidies, and an absolute disgrace. I'm surprised. So, go Duke. Yay.
Yay. Doesn't
Truth
happen
bomb.
much.
No, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yep.
Um,
Okay, what's next? Oh,
Okay.
go
Can I
ahead, Dan.
add something though? Like, I'm wondering, has there ever been a comparison of, say, when you have to clean up a well, an oil and gas, an oil well in particular, afterwards, and what the cleanup costs are of retirement of the wind and solar facilities? Because quite often the environmentalists go after the oil companies for not cleaning up their wells afterwards, and that this is a liability for governments to have to clean up afterwards. And I'm wondering if anyone's done a comparison yet between that and
excellent
wind and
question,
solar.
Tammy. And I'll tell you, there's two things that I'll mention on that. And there's been such a long history of oil and gas wells. Yes, orphan wells are a problem. However, in the last 20 years, they have done a much better job of incorporating the bonds and getting the orphan wells processes taken care of. Having the reclamation for the oil sands in Canada is phenomenal. That Canada does a great job on cleaning that up. Everybody says, "Oh, oil sands." Man, you don't even recognize a site when it's done.
Yeah.
When you go to a wind farm, or a solar farm, the reclamation costs are given to the landowner. And then oil and gas deals flip hands so many times between operators that and David can correct me as he normally does, is that
No, you're absolutely right.
and so, when you sit back and kind of go, wait a minute, it's flipped hands. Reclamation costs are actually embedded in a fee watched now in Texas by the Texas Railroad Commission, and they are doing a better job. But you're almost at $500,000 just to remove the steel and cement. That doesn't include hauling the wind blades off, doesn't include anything else. And it's the landowners, Tammy, that get to deal with that.
Yeah.
And that reclamation cost is not included. And then when you go back into it, the wind farms don't last 30 years. The wind farms barely last 8. And then when you go back through it, it's despicable. Okay, I'm going to shut up.
And the same thing's going to happen with wind, maybe not solar so much, but with wind, you're going to have the same cycle of the big original developer. As soon as it pays out, they're going to look to sell it to a smaller operating company, and it will continue to change hands until it's completely useless. And, if there's no requirement for any of that stuff to be taken down and hauled away, it's just going to stand there and rot because landowners not going to be able to pay to do that, right? So, that's what's going to happen unless these states start enacting proper regulations like they've always done with oil and gas development. All right, let's see here. The slides aren't changing. Thank you, Peter. We're going to change the slides. Here we go. Whose are these? No, that's a good point. They weren't changing because
I think this is a continuation on the email trails getting ready for today. And this was a continuation of the science affiliate attempt to link the New York area earthquake to climate change. And they were trying to say that the earthquake that happened before the eclipse was climate change.
Of course.
So, again, you cannot buy this kind of entertainment.
All right. And okay, here we go. Rainbows are climate change too. But anyway, this gets to one I wanted to talk about, which is the UN's climate chief pressing for faster action, says humans have 2 years left to save the world. Now, we've been treated over the past 40 years to a variety of predictions about how long the Earth has to act collectively. Of course, it's always a collective, it's always under a one world government structure that we all have to act the same way to do the same things to cure climate change. And, beginning in the 1980s, we supposedly had 5 years or 10 years or 7 years or 12 years, depending on whether you were listening to Al Gore or Ted Danson or Barbara Streisand to get your climate science. That was who was telling you how long we have. Well, now the UN's climate chief, whose name I'm going to forget, Steve, I think, decided last week that we really only have 2 years. Okay, everybody, Greta Thunberg and everybody's been overly optimistic. Now we really only have 2 years to do all this. Why do we only have 2 years? Because we're having elections all over Europe and the free world right now, the Western world this year. And he's trying to influence the outcome of elections by ramping up the climate alarm once again. Literally, that's why he made this speech, to try to ramp up fear in everybody's minds about, well, we have to keep Ursula von der Leyen in power at the EU and Joe Biden in power in the United States, and Justin Trudeau has to remain in power in Canada because it's more urgent than we thought. Now we only have 2 years, and in 3 years, in 2027, he's going to tell us we only have 5 years because the elections are over. And, oh, well, we miscalculated. We have more time now. And that's just how this all goes. This is the UN in action.
Yeah, he's trying to drum up support for the current rulers and decision makers in the West, but don't you think, guys, that he's going to achieve the completely opposite effect?
Sure.
Because people are already sick and tired of the transition. There was a recent poll by Ipsos, I think, in the US, and climate change is not the top concern of people. The economy is the top concern of people, yes. Amazingly, shockingly.
Who could have figured that out?
If you continue harping on about climate change and, notch up the alarm degree, people are just going to look the other way deliberately and, shut their ears off not to hear it.
There's a fairy tale about that, right? The little boy who cried wolf.
Yeah. Chicken Little.
Chicken Little, right. Chicken Little, of course.
So what I thought was interesting and his name is Simon Steele.
Steele, yeah, Simon.
Or Steele.
Right.
And what I thought was so interesting is that he'll say this 2 years, and then next year after the election, like you said, they'll revise it and say, look, our policies have actually bought us more time. So we can revise our estimate because, we've all, done our part with the EU Green Deal and the American Green New Deal and so on, that we've bought more time. And I think that's what's, David, you're so right to point that out. That's how they roll, is they keep changing these forward estimates.
And they would never say we miscalculated. No. They would never, ever say
that's
they
true.
keep miscalculating, but they never admit to it. They do admit that they're falling short of their own targets. And I think that's also part of the reason for this unbelievable speech. I read the transcript. It was really, really entertaining. There's also the question of finance draining out of the transition instead of, flowing in more of it.
And you wonder, what I wondered, he delivered that speech at Chatham House, which is the big British think tank. It's affiliated with one of the universities, right, Tammy? Is it Oxford or Cambridge or?
No,
or maybe I'm wrong about that.
I think it's just independent.
Okay. But these are people in the room who are educated people. They're supposedly intelligent people, or otherwise they wouldn't be part of Chatham House, right? how do the people in the room react to nonsense like this? When
Good
you know, or
question.
do they just sit there and applaud politely? I'd have a hard time just sitting there and listening to that and reacting politely to it, I think. But I'm not an intelligent, educated person. So let's go
Well,
to
I
the
think
next.
well, I think the problem is, like you mentioned earlier, that if you want to get ahead anywhere in politics, in the political administrative field or academia, you have to buy into this, or at least pay lip service to it. And
Yeah.
you can't appear to be smirking or scoffing at any of these pronouncements. It's, a case of the emperor wears the emperor's
Exactly.
new clothes, right? So it's like we're using all these fairy tales to describe what's happening with the energy transition, and because there's no reality there. It's this bizarre kind of fairy tale world where they can often make these projections and whatnot, and everybody has to nod along, otherwise they will be deplatformed, cut off from funding, cut off from their professional development, and so on,
Oh yeah.
and ambitions. So this is kind of where we're at these days.
Okay. So kudos to whichever one of you found that over the rainbow deal. That's hilarious. All right. Next we have.
I don't even know where to go on
I
this
just
bad
love
one.
these. Your jeans and your yoga pants are now terrible for the environment, folks, because of course they are.
My yoga pants would be bad for the environment because
Oh.
everybody would be throwing up and having more methane
Yeah.
going out than a cow.
Nobody
Just
needs
by
to
me
see
going
that.
in yoga pants. Holy smokes.
Does anyone here do yoga? I tried for about
No.
6 months till I pulled a muscle. Then it was all over.
Okay.
Uh,
I don't get that one.
but anyway, so you can't wear blue jeans anymore because the cotton farming is bad for the environment. Yoga pants, I guess maybe because they contain so many fabrics, that are derived from petroleum products,
They're
like
synthetic, yeah.
elastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you can go natural, organic, like cotton, and you
Uh-huh.
can go synthetic. What do we
Right.
do?
What are you going to do? I don't even know.
Get
Where does that
hairy?
leave us?
Yeah. Should we grow back our hair?
Hey.
Now become
Hey,
furry?
come
Hey.
on.
I'm a little all right. You just asked for that one. Hang on here a sec. Hang on. This is what I think of hair. Okay, this is Nathan
Oops.
Hammer. He says,
Yeah.
go ahead and bring that back up. I
All
love
right.
it.
For the love of fossil fuels, please quit calling this an energy transition. If we want to make this a successful thing, it's an energy addition. Well, yes, that's right.
Yeah, we know. We're
Oh,
not
yeah.
calling it energy transition.
All right.
Well, I
Because
mentioned
they want
transition.
it.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's not a transition. It's without
It should
nuclear
be
and
an
natural
addition,
gas.
but they're trying to enforce a transition, which
Okay,
is wrong.
Irina, I'm going to segue into this is what I think of reality when you're talking about seeing somebody else in the climate change. Okay, Whoop, wrong one. Let
Oops.
me get.
Hey,
It's this one. Sorry, here we go. That is two climate activists going by each other going, hey. Sorry.
looks like a skit from the old Benny Hill show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
Aging myself.
Cap-
Hey, Captain
Poopy
Poopy
Pants.
Pants. How you doing, man?
All right.
If I can
Okay.
comment on the yoga pant one. So Lululemon,
please.
which is like the biggest company that people know about yoga pants and whatnot, they have been a target from Canadian environmental groups probably for about 2 years now, where they're just relentless. They go in front of the stores and do, their PR stunts and so on. They lobby the governments, they pressure the investors and whatnot at the corporate board meetings, just like they do the banks. And I kept thinking, why do they hate Lululemon so much? But I'm waiting for them to go after North Face or any of these other big companies that utilize products that utilize
Right.
petroleum products.
Yeah, go after North Face. That makes me proud actually, because last week was my granddaughter Sydney's birthday. She's 11 years old now, and my wife and daughter took her shopping yesterday for her birthday. And where did they go? Lululemon. Deal with it. Okay.
What did you get, David?
I didn't get any.
Okay.
They don't make yoga pants my size, buddy. Okay, let's see here. Cows and climate change. Oh, this is a good one.
You gotta love this one.
Yeah.
I mean, if for our
This is a
podcast,
real thing, by the way, folks.
it is.
Oh, those poor
The article
cows.
was absolutely a hoot. It was out of a university, and I have it over here. It was absolutely there it is. Cows and climate change from UC Davis. And when you look at the picture for our podcast listeners, the cow is sitting there and he's got a tank around his head with breathing apparatus around there. You can't buy this kind of entertainment. There's a bunch of hoses coming around in there. They're on the wrong end of the cow. I mean, what are we doing here?
They're on the right end, because really most of what cows emit into the atmosphere is in the form of belches from their how many stomachs, 5 stomachs.
Hey, anybody else?
Isn't that animal cruelty?
Has anybody else on this panel worked in a dairy farm?
No.
Okay.
I
have shoveled what comes out the other end. I know where the methane is.
I've done that. Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm sorry. And Irina, what does moo, 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 moo mean at 4 a.m.? That is a herd of cows coming in to be milked. They are not a happy group of people unless they're milked regularly.
Yeah, I can imagine that. But what we see here is animal cruelty.
Yes.
Oh,
Where are
absolutely.
the animal rights activists?
Yeah. And I want every American taxpayer to understand that your Environmental Protection Agency, back around 2008, 2009, spent millions of dollars on studies related to this contraption right here.
Oh my gosh.
Just to make animals suffer?
So I'm going to be super controversial here.
Cool.
And I'm going to say methane's not a problem.
No.
You're preaching to the choir, Tammy.
It's ridiculous to have to go do all this for cattle and for if the oil and gas industry wants to try and prevent flaring and whatnot in order to conserve resources, which I agree with. I don't think you should be wasting it. But to do it because ostensibly it's affecting the climate or whatever, I don't think it's a climate issue, especially how much methane there is in the atmosphere, how much we put in there and how long it lasts. I mean, it's just like what William Happer said and William Van Weingarten said. It's really a rounding error with respect to climate change.
Oh, yeah. So it's carbon dioxide.
How do you make cattle more sustainable? Cattle are sustainable. They're
exactly.
Animals. They are natural. They fertilize the soil.
I love me a good cow.
Really.
Anyway, the one thing that is a consistent as we're having fun, we've got a bunch more videos coming up in here, is that Germany has been deindustrialized by the energy policies. And the one thing I wanted to bring this really happy celebratory day down a little bit is that the U.S. is having the same thing. You cannot print money and not have inflation. Sorry, I didn't mean to be an economist here for about 2.5 seconds. Germany is also going through this, and in higher energy costs, the moment you add transition renewables, they're not renewable. There's an Energy Live put out in Britain, tenants' energy bills match extra month's rent. News research reveals that tenants' annual energy bills now match an additional month's rent, reaching a 7-year high of 1,000.
That's just the incremental increase in their utility.
That is correct. Yeah. And just shy of the average monthly rent in Britain. I mean, wherever you have renewables, you have higher costs. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Arbor Day is less than 2 weeks a day. Make Make like a tree, embrace carbon dioxide and leave carbon dioxide sequestration alone.
Yeah, I mean, if you're worried about carbon dioxide, plant trees. I mean, this isn't hard. It's
Make
not
it work.
complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I have a solution on the next one here. Yep, there we go. Put a cork in the cows, and then they're gonna like rise around and then use them as balloons at kids' parties. I think that this would be absolutely wonderful. And then here's this one: life after the Green New Deal. I love this one. You got, David and I really wish that we looked like that. A, hair, and B, manly. So, both
A
of
lot
us
of guys
really-
do look like that these days. It's kind of stylish.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of baseball
True.
players.
Here's a comment from Daryl.
What study has been done to measure methane from human waste? Then to contrast the methane release of 30 million bison, approximate numbers 1880s to today's cattle population. What wildlife numbers were in Africa in the past versus now? Yes, great points, actually.
Yeah.
Well, but also if they're really worried about methane, most of it has come from wetlands. So if
Sure.
wetlands are the biggest releaser, as well as hydro dams because of the water and whatnot. But now the EU wants to restore the wetlands, but we've taken wetlands out. So, but now we're supposed to restore them and they contribute more methane. So we're going to get rid of cows because we're all supposed to eat vegetables and plants. And then we're going to restore a bunch of wetlands and have more hydro, which will create more methane. And so I'm confused.
Well, they're breaking down dams, to be fair, in Europe. So
Are
they're
they
really
That's true.
hydro.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are they breaking down dams?
To restore wetlands.
And rivers, right? To
Really?
renature the rivers. Yeah.
I got nothing.
The same environmentalists who promote wind and solar want you to tear down dams to free the rivers so that sockeye salmon don't
David,
die.
this next one is I think a 1-minute clip. In this 1-minute clip, this lady is in Atlanta, and to tee this up, City of Atlanta put in free chargers for EVs. Okay, free.
Spent $6 million doing it too, right?
I think it was something like that, and then they came through and put a bike lane in. And now you can't get to the charger.
You can't park in front of the charger.
They're free if you can use them.
Chargers around the city. So excited to use them, right? So here we are out of the car, opening up my charge port. I'm parked right by a free charger. Guess what the city of Atlanta did? Yeah, they repaved the street. And now,
Look at the barriers.
nobody has access to these chargers. What the heck?
You can't buy this kind of entertainment.
It's not going to
folks.
reach.
So, I
Your
think
government in action.
I think they're related. The same folks that are doing the damage in the dams and doing the new wetlands, I think, are related to the guys in Atlanta.
Government planning.
And Daryl is on a roll here again.
How do they intend to have pumped hydration for VER storage?
Another very good point.
Good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Well, they don't, apparently.
Daryl, what brand of coffee do you have? Because I need something. He's doing great. Hey, on some of this stuff, I think that we are seeing and David, I think we are seeing a great awakening happening around the world in many ways. And I think that Irina has been bringing a lot of this up in her Substack. And Irina, your Substack is wonderful. Everybody needs to follow Irina on Irina Slav Substack.com. David Blackmon is Blackmon at Substack.com. I'm on energynewsbeat.co, and Tammy Nemeth is the founder of the Nemeth Report. Sorry, I just want to do a small commercial for you guys because you guys are rock stars. So here is, do you remember Running Man? I don't even know what Running Man was, but this is an absolute
Hoffman movie?
Classic.
There is a climate activist group, and they've got a barricade, and look at that line trying to get Burning Man. Excuse me, not Running Man.
That was last year, yeah.
Yeah.
That was Burning Man. That was at Burning Man.
Man, thank you.
Well, my proposal for this is we need to have a scoring system implemented. Where a scoring system where the guy in that truck who ran through that barricade gets 10 points for doing that. Okay. And you add up the points to your social credit score to get you extra food.
If we add the scoring system, let me show this clip because I need to ask. There's got to be bonus points for different ways of handling this. So let's go to this one.
Oh yeah, these are 25-point deals here.
Okay, this is a 25er.
Yeah, these are 25 pointers. Watch how they drag these people.
Oh, these are a good drag.
That's 25 points for sure. Look, particularly the guy dragging the one by his feet.
Oh, look at this.
Yeah, that's totally 25 pointers.
Oh, and a tackle.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And they're keeping them from going back.
There you go. So you get cars through, that's an extra 5-point bonus.
Okay. Oh, 5-point car. Yeah. All right.
For each car.
If you want to encourage people, to your cause, why do you want to do things like this?
Now, this bus driver gets 100 points by scoring system.
That's exactly what I would have done.
He's saying, sorry, folks, you either get out of the way or you die. Your choice.
Captain Poopy Pants loves Irina.
No, really, there's nothing.
We got screams. Screams are got to be some points, David.
These people are morons.
I don't know. This one's good. All right. Now, I want to know.
This is awesome.
Isn't it great fun? I want to know who designed the Just Stop Oil logo. All right. Did somebody have a bad drunk look in the mirror and go, this is going to be a good logo? Who did that logo? Holy smokes. Sorry. Okay. This is, let's see which one this one.
I like the existential nature of the climate change threat.
Yes. Existential. Yeah. Yes.
Well, and you have to remember that the courts are on their side, especially in the EU and UK. So like the recent court ruling in Switzerland that basically said governments have to act on climate change or else. So
manure cannons, Daryl.
Yeah.
For our podcast listeners.
Oh, yes.
Daryl,
they did it in Germany too.
Have you seen the farmers in Belgium using manure cannons? You can't buy that kind of entertainment. I mean, I grew up hitting my brother and everybody else with potato cannons and missiles out of tire pumps and M80s and stuff. Got to get me a cannon, a poop
We need
cannon.
a point system for that too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So here's one. This one is a little different, David and Irina and Tammy. When I set this one up, I found some stalkers that were actually stalking the Just Stop Oil folks, and it was pretty fun. Daryl is asking another one that I was wanting. Who funds Just Stop Oil? If anybody knows of all the folks that are listening,
well, I could name some usual suspects like the Rockefeller Foundation, the Getty Foundation, the Park Foundation, the Heinz Foundation, Bill Gates, George Soros.
Heinz.
You know, you can start there and probably find it all.
That'd be Lurch, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
The Climate Emergency Fund, Eileen Getty. There was another guy who was funding it, but now he's pulled his funding because he's giving it all to the Labour Party for the election this year in the UK. So
Was that the guy with the climate education program, or whatever, Vance or Vince?
yes, yeah, I think
He's pulled his money out of Extinction Rebellion. Oh, just so
well, yeah, apparently, because he said he wants to make sure that Labour gets in.
Wow, he doesn't have
Gosh,
enough
that
money
seems
to vote?
that's a foregone conclusion at this point, isn't it?
I don't. They probably have pulled in money from other sources, I'm guessing. So
No.
Wow. Here's one, and this guy was funny. He's got a sign in Polish. I don't know what it is, so if somebody reads Polish,
Where that's okay. Just lig mabosak is just stop oil in Polish. Just stop oil. Stop that oil. Stop
they
that
are
oil.
actually
All he's trying to do
not.
is save the world, and you've hurt him. It's cool, man. I've got a jug.
I'm sure your mother is so proud of you.
Yes, my sons and daughters. Wait.
So
What the?
there was some I had to bleep that out here, but these guys were heckling Just Stop Oil, and so it was actually pretty fun. So you got to love it when some heckling group is heckling a heckling group. Who's the heckler?
Arbor Day is 12 days away. Is that the same as Earth Day?
Yeah.
Arbor Day is Earth Day. They're the same.
I don't think
I
so.
don't know, but we saw this coming, didn't we?
Earth Day is 12 days away, right? Yeah.
Earth Day's next Monday.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's next Monday, right? The 22nd.
On the
Okay, Arbor
22nd.
Day is the 27th. Okay, all right, gotcha. Sorry.
Earthday.org.
Let me think here. The
Every
founder
day
of
is an
Earth
Earth Day
Day.
for me. I just smell a cow and think of Earth. I've been absolutely burying and redoing a whole garden. I have had therapy reclaiming some of my land, and I am so boogered up. I'm holding up a vine. Got the vine won. Well, no, I won because I got the vine out of there. But let's see, tomatoes and potatoes and everything that you can possibly grow. I'm having a lot of fun. How much in green do I have to put in the ground to make up for my Ford 350? A lot of stuff I got to grow.
You have to pay
Oh, but
penance.
they found out that amateur gardening of the sort that you and I do.
Yeah.
It actually has a higher carbon footprint. So we're in fact contributing to the problem rather than helping solve it.
Irina, I think you and I are the only sane ones out there on that.
What about David and Tammy?
Well, I know
I'm totally insane.
Yeah, no, David and I are in the same insane boat. No, so.
By the way, the next Monday is Earth Day.
Okay.
And the founder of Earth Day, Ira Einhorn, was a murderer who killed his wife and composted her. So he was an environmentally conscious murderer.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
I think I've read this somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, just go Google it. NBC did a big story about it 15
Leaf
years ago.
doesn't really make good compost, though, does it?
I don't know. That's what he did with her. Arbor Day is the 26th. Okay, it's 11 days away. Well, good. That gives us time. We got time to go to Home Depot, buy some seeds, plant a tree.
I did get 2 trees, and I've got another like 8 that I'm planting, and then I have more. So I am trying to build,
Okay. So where next? What do we got next?
We went
We're
through
running
all
out
the
of
videos that we have.
Well, I guess maybe we're done.
All right.
We're 44 minutes in. I guess that's good. That's a good show.
I think so. I
Yeah.
think you guys were great. And
Next year.
Can I throw one in here? I forgot.
please.
I forgot. So after the eclipse last week, we had Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, who said that the moon is made of gases. And the moon is a planet.
It's a
I know
full
it's
circle,
not
a big
related to
round full
climate, but
circle.
gosh, it was just
What
so
is
funny.
wrong with people? Why? How
And the
old is
sun,
this
by the
group?
way, is powerful hot. Okay, folks? And you almost can't go near it, according to
Tammy,
Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee.
I
Almost
wish
can't go
I
near
wish
it.
you had said something, because I had that and I was going to tee it up, because I found that one just enlightening.
She was my
That's
member of
one word.
Congress for 10 years.
Word.
Oh, my goodness. Anyway,
Hey, but she's got a degree from Yale.
from Yale.
what?
Supposedly, she graduated from Yale Law School, yes. Which
Oh,
tells
okay,
you the real value of an Ivy League education.
yeah. It just shows how important it is to study science while you can, like in secondary school.
You mean science matters, Irina?
I know it's a shocking idea, but I mean, based on what we've talked about today, climate change causing earthquakes and eclipses and the moon being made of gas.
Maybe the sun was caused by global warming. You ever thought that? Huh? Anybody ever thought about that? Maybe it's hot because of global warming. Think about it.
We're giving them ideas, David.
Yeah.
Yeah. David, don't give him ideas.
Don't give them ideas, really.
I learned that at Yale. Anyway.
Oh,
Hey, you could apply for a grant to research that.
Yep,
I
absolutely.
will get it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the full moon is a round ball made up mostly of gas, so humans really have a hard time living on it. Okay, I'm done with the Sheila Jackson videos.
why?
I don't know. Anyway, we better go before I get myself in trouble. I think that's all for this week. Next week is Earth Day. Next Monday is Earth Day, and I'm sure we will have all sorts of great information related to Earth Day next Monday. So please tune in.
We'll celebrate birthday
We will
appropriately.
celebrate with all our
Yes.
lights on.
And Daryl Poston with the perfect end to the episode depends on the science you pay for.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Ooh,
That
good
is
one.
that is the entire principle of our climate and energy policy today, folks. With that, we're going to call it good. Bye, y'all. Have a great week.
Have a
Bye.
good day and
Thanks
a
for
great
listening.
week. See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye, Stu.
Bye,
Bye,
Stu.
Stu.
Bye, David. Bye, Irina.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Tammy. Bye, Irina.
Bye, everyone.